Hello viewers, my name is Robert Latham, the creator of a TV show in development called Bloody England. Today, I'm here to talk about one of the 6 main characters within Bloody England, James Arthur Luck. Reference from James's bio in the Bloody England infobook. James Arthur Luck was born in Belfast in 1998, where he moved to spend most of his childhood in Camden, London, due to the events of the Provisional Irish Republican Army, also known as the IRA. He was a single child of the family, with his mother Grace to take care of him whilst his father Henry was fighting within the British Army. This meant James had no father figure to look up to until his return in 2012. At the age of 17, after witnessing his father's drunken outburst that resulted in Grace's death, James ran away from home. On the same night, he saved a girl from an oncoming truck. That girl was Abigail Weddington, adopted daughter of Maxwell Boyd. Both of them kept bumping into each other, week after week, in places like the park, shops and the London Underground, after James beat up someone from sexually assaulting Abigail Weddington. They both decided to get together, and they both made a cute couple. This was going so well, but this happened 4 years ago. Now in 2019, the 4 words to describe the man would be sexist, racist, homophobic, and unemployable. With his passion to drink and smoke, you can get the idea that James is an asshole, and he only cares about himself. So now we can get some information from James's bio. He is a 21-year-old man from Northern Ireland, living in England. He had no father figure during his upbringing, which could be the reason for his inappropriate behaviour, and his connections with other characters, being Abigail Weddington. James is also a smoker, and that he likes to drink. However, it is confirmed that he has a drinking habit in the series, which I will explain later. Now here is some concept art of James Arthur Luck, drawn by Instagram user Oh God It's Chris. They do some incredible art, as seen here, so give him a follow and consider getting a commission from them. As you can see, James has some fashion sense, wearing the England rugby shirt with black trousers. He is also quite muscular, which shows that he is quite active with fitness. In Bloody England, James has a co-leading role of the series, alongside with the patriotic Brit called Ruse Brit, who is the main lead of the series. There are 12 episodes within the first season of Bloody England, and James's biggest appearances are in the 1st, 4th, 7th and 12th episodes. Now James is an asshole, as seen from his sexist, racist and offensive jokes, but he does this for a reason. James does all of this because he is a broken man. He is broken before the show, being that he witnessed the death of his own mother with his own eyes from a man who has been absent for most of his life. He has no father figure in his youth, which caused him to be filled with anger, which eventually turns into him sometimes joking about things that he hates in life, or joking about dark things, which he does from the first episode to the last. What has kept with him throughout his childhood to the events of Bloody England is his emotions, especially anger. This is portrayed within the first episode, where he's trying to make himself look big and successful in front of his friends, by going to a made-up party, but in reality, he ends up going to a McDonald's car park in the pouring rain, while the song Everybody Hurts by Rem plays on the radio. The biggest example of his emotions is within the Dan vs inspired episode, James vs Ruse Brit, an episode based on James trying to get back at Ruse Brit because of his jealousy over Ruse Brit's kindness, quote-unquote luck, his positive vibes towards life. In the episode, James tries to get back at Ruse Brit in this episode by doing various things like sending him a video of people burning the Union Jack, which eventually turns out that Ruse Brit ends up saving a bunch of kittens from a tree. Because James is fueled by his failure in his brilliant schemes that he comes up with, James gets to the point where he nearly kills Ruse Brit by shooting him in the face, while he barely holds on to an end of a drawbridge. A few scenes later, James actually nearly kills himself in the episode because he feels guilty, thinking that he killed Ruse Brit, when in reality, the group is just playing a prank on him. This whole episode shows how broken James is with his emotions, and how James hates but loves Ruse Brit, because James sees Ruse Brit as a more successful version of himself, and he feels that he is always in Ruse Brit's shadow, as described in his anger when he is about to shoot him. On a side note, it's funny because James has a lot of similarities with Dan. I would give the Dan vs a series a watch, especially the episode Dan vs Telemarketers.
Give the gym a chance. You said just yesterday you've been feeling fat.
That was said in confidence!
Within the last section, we will be focusing on James's relation with some of the cast of Bloody England. We should get Roosebrit out of the way first. James's relationship with Roosebrit is quite brutal, but caring. James will sometimes mock Roosebrit and try to belittle him, which examples include James and Webby teasing Roosebrit in episode 10 because he is dressed up as a medieval squire at a teenage-styled Halloween party, and James hearing Roosebrit's name for the first time. James will also use Roosebrit as a shield, metaphorically and physically. An example of this is the big pub brawl in episode 6, where the Bloody England cast finally come face to face with the rapist that raped one of the new characters. In this scene, the main cast is fighting the rapist and a bunch of chavs, and James is fighting chavs whilst fighting a 7-foot Slovakian guy who hit James with a car earlier in the scene. James is no match for the Slovakian guy on his own, which in one shot he grabs Roosebrit to take a hit from the Slovakian guy, which knocks him out. Though it seems that James is toxic towards Roosebrit, James is nice to him sometimes, an example being that Roosebrit is being picked on by the rapists in the shop in an earlier episode, but James stands up for Roosebrit by making them back off with insults and a few punches. Moving on, the next character that James has a relationship with is Maxwell Boyd, also known as Origin. James and Origin have a mixed relationship. James doesn't like Origin sometimes because he's too serious and or sensitive over his jokes, while Origin doesn't like James sometimes because of the inappropriate jokes that he makes, and also him as insulting Athena, Origin's AI assistant that lives in his robotic eye. Though their relationship may be mixed, James sees Origin as a father figure because of Origin's modern day dad attitude, or his daddy vibe if you're into that kind of thing. They both have some witty banter and they both smoke together. James also likes Origin's kill rule, being that no good human being should be testified but instead killed on sight. Webby's relationship with James is also mixed. On the outside, James will make sexual and sexist jokes towards Webby, but on the inside, James cares about her. Now, I would talk about James's relationship with the villain of Bloody England, Cedric, but they don't have an interesting relationship, so I won't talk about it. While people may see James as a very hateful man based on what he says and acts, you have got to feel sorry for him regarding his upbringing and the choices that he has made in life. James is a very interesting character within the Bloody England universe. With the chaotic and mockery actions with Roosebrit and the others, I hope that people enjoy his character once the final product gets released. Thank you for watching my essay on the Bloody England character, James Arthur Luck. You can follow the progress of Bloody England by following my socials that are on screen. If a film company is interested in my TV show, you can contact me at the email address on screen as well. Thank you for listening.